launch into game number 1. I only hope that all the settings are correct. We have MoThump AOC versus GrandNagus. So let's launch into the game. Let's see what's cracking. Perfect timing. Welcome everyone. Welcome to another Australian Open recordings. Recordings of casting and recordings and such. We're sitting in Division B here and we're going to be spectating MoThump AOC and GrandNagus. They are sitting pretty in Group 1. This is still round 1 of this fantastically put together tournament. And we're going to be witnessing a best of 5 series between these two players. Now obviously the first map, or the first setting, or the settings for the first map rather, is blind random map and team random civilizations. So if we can just turn off the fog of war, I think we can all get really hyped for what looks to be a Gold Rush map. And I'm almost sure it is Gold Rush because there are a crap ton of wolves sitting in the center of the... Well, it's not really the center of the map, but there are a crap ton of wolves towards the center sort of area of the map. Now let's introduce the players. And I thought Octagonal would get a little bit excited at the civilizations that have been selected here as well. Toward the north of the map, playing in the blue trunks as the Koreans. Thank you very much, Pyro. As the Koreans, we have MoThump AOC, who, again, because I'm lazy, please put your lumber camp here. Do not put it there. I suppose that's okay. I'm just going to call MoThump. He's playing in the blue. As the Koreans, his opponent today, down in the red trunks toward the south of the map, is... how the hell did it come up on Octagonal stream? GrandNagus or something like that. But we have Nagus. We have Nagus playing down to the south in the red, and he is obviously also playing as the Koreans. And as I mentioned just before, and was validated, for want of a better term, by Pyrosaurus in the chat. Shout out to Pyro. The map is Gold Rush. Now let's have a look at these. Let's have a look. GrandNagus. That's the bugger. Thank you very much. Pyro. So let's have a look at their maps and see what we could maybe be expecting from these two gentlemen. Now Nagus, he has a little bit of gold pretty much right underneath his town centre. Quite nice for him indeed. Berries out on the front. He does also have he's got a wood line that extends quite a way quite a nice arc out the front of his base. That's going to provide a nice natural wall off for him, so he should be in quite a good position in terms of that. Out towards the right hand side of his base, we can see a stone pile and we can see another little spattering of gold. Unfortunately, they are sitting on a hill, which means that any aggression, any pressure coming in here from MoThump is going to be really is going to be really effective for him. What else does he have? Well, he has a saving grace of back stone as well. Now, as the Koreans, trushing is a very viable strategy, as well as the fact that wanting to get into the center of the map as soon as you possibly can to take control of all of these golds means that castles, towers, for example, very important and very viable as well. And the Koreans just do towers oh so well. And if anyone disagrees with me, ask Octagonal D in the chat. Speaking of, well, other stuff, let's go ahead and look at MoThump's base, shall we? Well, he also has gold quite close to his town centre. He's got back berries. He, unfortunately, does not have the added benefit of having an arc of wood out the front of his base, keeping him nice and safe, but he still does have very simplistic wall-offs to each side of his base, with a wall-off there and a wall-off back there, and he will be nice and safe as well. All trushes are terrible. I hate trushes completely and utterly. What we have also is he has a smattering of gold towards the back of his base, and he has chosen to take his wood line out to the western flank of his map as well. Now, as I was saying, the map is Gold Rush. So taking control of the middle is not the be-all, end-all. It is very important, and it's sort of like catching the snitch in Quidditch, whereby if you catch the snitch more often than not, your team wins the game. If you take control of all of the gold in the center of the map, more often than not, you're going to win the game. A very common strategy that we also see on Gold Rush is a Wolf Rush. Let's see if either of these guys have scouted all the woo-woo-woos. Well, MoThump has actually gone ahead. Yes, Tato's partnered. Of course he's partnered. MoThump has actually gone ahead and he has scouted the fact that there are wolves here. Whether or not he was paying attention to the fact there are wolves there is potentially another story. Nagus, on the other hand, has missed out. He's missed out on the torrential amount of wolves that we have here as well. A little bit unfortunate for him, but at the same time, whenever I've played Gold Rush, I've always, tried to tentatively test the waters, dip my feet in the pool, for want of a better phrase. And every time I just get mauled to death by wolves. And it's quite lucky for Nagus, for example, that all of the wolves do seem to be skewed a little bit toward the left-hand side of the map, and all the gold seems to be situated away from all those pesky wolves. Although that's a little bit unfortunate for Mothump, losing a villager straight away. Or rather, losing a villager to a boar. We're going to see a lame. Is Nagus going to lame? No, I don't think he is. Well, he's not going to try and steal the boar, but maybe he'll try and lame a villager as well. So what else can we see? Well, I mean, again, taking control of the middle is almost inherent to the fact that you want to try and keep your opponent locked up inside of his base for as long as you can. If Mothump loses another village, no, he should be fine, I think. Yep, no, verbally pathing is much better than HD pathing, so he should be fine. Now, as I was saying, almost inherent in trying to take control of the center of the map is to make sure that you keep your opponent locked up inside of his base. And what better way to do that than by starting it off straight away with a drush or a man-at-arms rush? And the Koreans, why not follow up the man-at-arms rush with a tower rush, for example? It's a very strong strategy for the Koreans and civilizations in general as well. We can see a barracks coming up now inside the economy, inside the base here, for Nagus, as he has clicked up to the feudal age and going up on 22 population. Maybe a little delayed, a little bit of idle time perhaps, but he will be up in a decent enough time to be able to put some pressure on his opponent. Mothump, fantastic. This is exactly what we want to see. Finally, someone is actually splitting their lumber camps in Division B. Is Nagus doing the same thing? No, he's not. He decides that he wants to break my heart instead, and he wants to stick on... Oh, and saying that, go, please, build another lumber camp, please, split your lumber. No, you're going to murder the deer. Alright, whatever. I don't care. We can see a barracks having also been thrown up for Mothump, and if we switch over to his point of view, do we see anything coming out of that barracks? Well, no, we do not. He can click up to the feudal age, and indeed, up he goes as well. Up on 25 population. Maybe he got housed. Maybe he's been watching Octagonal Dick play a little bit too much, and he's gone for Octagonal's patented 25 pop housed up to feudal age. Now it just begs the question, what are both of these players going to be doing once they get into the feudal age? Obviously they do start with smatterings of gold around their base, which means that archers, men-at-arms, all those sorts of gold-based feudal rushes are definitely a viable option. And I'm just checking the barracks here. I'm just checking what these guys are both going to be doing. Neither of them have moved out to stone, much to Octagonal's disgust, I'm sure. Neither of them have moved out to gold either, but we can see a stable coming up for Nagus, and I more or less should have expected this as well. I've played a few games with Nagus, and I remember discussing with him that he was working very hard on his scout rush a couple of months back. So even though the Koreans not really too well known for doing scout rushes, he's still going to be able to start moving out, taking some early map control with these scouts. And his scout rush build order, to be fair, is not actually that bad. He is getting double bed axe at the very least. And is he going to start queuing up scouts? Well, I don't know, because I'm not actually on his point of view. But Mothump, has he scouted the stable? Yes, he has scouted the stable, so he knows exactly what is going to be coming his way. Mothump, on the other hand, again, still can't see any inkling as to what he is going to be doing once he reaches the feudal age in 3 seconds time. 2 farms being thrown down. Maybe he's going to go for scouts as well to match his opponent. And let's have a look. A stable it is as well. So a double scout rush apiece for both of these players here. And we can see that the scouts from Nagus have already started to move out across the map. And if I can't remember if this is, I don't think it's this overlay. I think it's a spectator dashboard or overlay, whichever other one that I have. You can have an option that shows you the map control of each player's. And for the time being, Nagus's map control graph would be slightly, just that little bit higher than his opponent's Mothump here, as he does have the scouts out earlier, owing to him going up to the feudal age just that little bit quicker. And instead of pushing into his opponent's base, he's just sitting pretty on top of this hill, and fair enough. I mean, gold is very, very important. Unfortunately, 3 scouts not really going to be able to hold down the center of the map for too much at all. Scrub Castle with no pop graph at indeed. So we can see that Mothump had actually gone for the 25 pop, not housed, and then decides to get housed on 30 pop instead. Unsure what Octagonal thinks about that. We might have to give him a wee interview after the game. Now, of course, Mothump, knowing straight away from his scouting that his opponent was going to be going scouts, he gets out a defensive spearman, and unluckily for him, he does decide, hey, I'm going to move this defensive spearman out of the perfect position it was in a moment ago, such that my opponent's scouts can move in and start harassing my villagers. For the time being, though, Nagus is going to get the heck out of town, and if he clicks on this one scout here from his opponent, he'll be thinking, hey, I could probably come in here, pick that guy off, and then sorry, pick that scout off, and then I'll be in a really, really nice position to be able to start taking these fights a little more definitively. Is Mothump creating any extra scouts? Well, no, he's not. He's just going for the 2 scouts, and so double scouts and double spearman play, and Mothump bringing over 2 spears to scare away these scouts, but Nagus's army control, Nagus's micro is on point there as he brings his scouts out of harm's way, and we can see the potential archer transition already coming up now for Mothump as well. The market having been thrown up at the back of his base, a little bit of an imbalanced economy for the time being. He needs to throw up an archery range, he needs to throw up a blacksmith, he needs to just use this wood, sell it, do something with it, please. Imbalanced economy is it's not nice to look at all. 31 villages for Nagus, 30 villages for Mothump. Military quite heavily in favor here, or not heavily in favor, sorry, 6 military to 5 in favor of Nagus, but Nagus obviously having more offensive units on the map. Does he actually have spearmen back at home? That's the big question now that he knows his opponent has a stable. Well, yes, he does. He's got 2 spearmen patrolling the same tree. That is obviously a very, very important tree, and potentially Octagonal's trolling comment in the chat might actually not be so trolling. Maybe he is inadvertently saving up that wood for towers that could be coming up. Unfortunately, we might not be able to get to see that as the scouts from Nagus start to move in on the wood line. And this house walling villager of his opponent Mothump getting a few unfortunate hits from these scouts on these scouts from the spears, manages to pick off a villager before he loses a scout and gets the heck out of there, bringing his villager lead to 34 villagers to 2. A lot more farms now being seeded as well for Mothump as Nagus clicking up to the castle age. Huge plays from him, obviously. Oh, has he done a bit of market magic? Not really sure. His economy is looking pretty balanced and pretty nice for the time being. What are we going to see from Nagus once he gets into the castle age? Time will tell, because he is definitely giving me no indication. Maybe he wants to go for knight, seeing as though he already has a stable up. Maybe he wants to embrace his inner Chinese. Maybe he's paying homage to Noodle, because he is going ahead and getting some pretty nice wall ups. Walls up to keep himself nice and safe inside of his base. Mothump, I don't believe, is that close to the castle age. No, he's still a good 500 food away from the castle age. He could buy himself up, though. He does have an excess amount of wood. Potentially, he is saving it for archers, for towers, but I don't think so, as he throws down 2 archery ranges and starts bringing out some archers. A bit of a late archer transition, in my opinion. And the archers without fletching, and he's sending them out one at a time, even against non-bloodline scouts. Archers really need to have a decent mass before they can do any sort of real damage against scouts. So Nagus in quite a firm leading position here, in my opinion. His opponent Mothump still has not clicked up to the feudal age yet, and I wonder, to the castle age, and I wonder if he knows that his opponent is actually up to fletching. Oh, is it fletching? Sorry, I'll start calling it fletching. That makes it sound like I have a very thick British accent. But Mothump, just as he moves his scouts away, the scouts here from Nagus starting to push in. Maybe he'll be able to get this 1 HP farm. If he's paying attention, he could have sniped the farm. Instead, he's going to run headlong into 2 spears. He's going to lose 1 scout straight away. A little bit unfortunate for him. What else is going to be happening? Well, he's in the castle age now. Let's just ignore those scouts. Let's have a look at what he's doing back at home. He's throwing up an extra stable, and he's going to be going for 2 stable knights in the castle age. Mothump realizing, oh crap, I need to get up to the castle age now. These scouts out in front, and these scouts out in the center of the map, not really going to be able to do too much against the castle age army. It looks like Mothump is wanting to stick with archers for the time being. 5 more gold, and he can click on up to the castle age as well. 5 more gold, up he goes, significantly later than his opponent here. Nagus as well, though. Now, Nagus, what is he going to do? He needs to start taking map control, needs to start gaining control of the center, and this is where the Koreans really, really come into their own. Had he been mining just a little bit of stone once he got into the feudal age, instead of throwing up an extra town centre in his base and getting his boom on, he might have been able to have a castle and be able to place it in the middle and start really taking advantage of the fact that he does have A, the technology advantage, and B, he could just start playing the war of attrition game with his opponent as well. Instead, going for a more sensible, even though it is potentially a little more timid approach of putting up an extra town centre back at home and starting to get his boom going a little bit as well, starting to reflect itself in the villager count as we see 38 villages to 39, pretty much all even for the time being. Now we already know what Mothump is doing as well. For his castle age techs, he will be going ahead and he will be going for the crossbow route, and he's at least taking the initiative. He's sending his units out into the center of the map, just scouting around, saying, okay, what is my guy doing? And saying that, does he actually know the second stable has come up? Well, no, he does not. He doesn't actually know that Nagus is going to be going for knights. And Nagus is actually giving nothing away as well, because he is not not getting any upgrades for his scouts for the time being. So Mothump can't even grab that information by clicking on the scouts and saying, "Oh, okay, he's getting scout. Okay, now he's doing it. Now in comes scale barding armor for the +1 defense on his knights as he moves into the center of the map and starts taking the fight. And these archers, fletching. Well, yep, sure, that's fine, fantastic. Now they're going to get scared away. Unfortunately, all boring strats next game, please. Well, I do not have the ability. Well, I do have the ability, but I don't want to. I want to cast these games to the best of my ability. And now Nagus pushing out with a soon-to-be +1 defensed Korean Knights is probably going to be able to clean up the majority of Mothump's army here before Mothump has the ability, or has the ability. How the hell is this happening? How the hell is this TC being built while there are spearmen on top of it? I thought the spearmen would get the hell out of there, but apparently not. Anyway, Bodkin arrow now coming in for Mothump as well. Is he foregoing the crossbowman upgrade? Well, he's getting up a monastery, a fantastic counter to knights, but at the same time, that's not just me, right? That shouldn't be able to be happening. But at the same time, I'm actually going to watch this town centre go up and see what happens to these spears, because these spears are safe. Okay, they just move off. Okay, that's a little bit strange. Either way, chain barding armor coming in for +2 defense on these knights for GrandNagus. Has he thrown up an extra town centre? Is he getting his boom on even harder back at home? Well, he's seeded about 2 extra farms since I last checked. Town centre coming up as well, as we just saw with those incredibly strange hacks coming in here from Mothump. So 2 town centres apiece. Villager lead slightly ahead for GrandNagus, and obviously as the game progresses, the villager lead doesn't particularly matter at all. Mothump in the chat. Now I have to be very careful what I say about his gameplay. Third town centre coming up onto the right-hand side of his economy. Fair enough. If these fucking spearmen do that again... See, now they move. What the shit? Were they the same 2 cheeky fuckers? No, it was these 2 bastards. Maybe it's the spear. No, because they moved for the... I'm fucking confused. Either way, we can see Mothump throwing up another stable as well. And is he going to try and match his opponent in terms of military numbers with the knights? Well, he could do. He's also going to have to do a little bit in terms of getting the upgrades. And indeed, he is scale barding armor. And with the monastery having been thrown up for him as well, he might actually be able to push out and start taking some really, really nice fights against Nagus, who has now tentatively started dipping his feet into the water, and he started he's put a town centre, his third town centre, out on the front, or in the centre of the map, where he's going to start gobbling up this delicious gold and start trying to look for a nice platform from which he can launch his launch his attack into Mothump's base. Again, I would really like to see either of these players starting to use the Korean bonus of the faster stone mining and start mining some stone, because a couple of castles in the center would just be absolutely huge. Of course, this base, or this little area out here from Mothump's base, we didn't really focus too much on this, but are those his 2 stones? Yes, they are. 2 stones out on the front for Mothump. A little bit difficult for him, so he's really going to be wanting to take the initiative and start pushing out and taking at least control of this hill here, because not only will it give him a hill advantage for if Nagus decides, or when Nagus decides to push up this hill, it's also going to give him control over these 2 stones and protect a really, really important area of his map. But for now, 3 TCs apiece, and it looks like these guys are just going to be taking it into the late game, maybe chucking out a couple of knights here or there. Mothump still sitting back, still sitting on his heels, just going for the 3 TCs inside of his base. and not really looking like he wants to start pushing out at all. +1 defense having been done on his knights. Wheelbarrow only just coming in now for Nagus. I'm not entirely sure whether Mothump has got wheelbarrow for the time being, but anyway, 63 villages it is to 57. Nagus's economy starting to look really, really strong now as well, and I really am interested to see what sort of tech switch these guys are going to go into once the game starts progressing into the late game. Well, Nagus is going ahead and he's grabbing some archery ranges, but I feel like that is not preparing for the late game, since we saw him researching, was it crossbowmen or bodkin arrow? I think it was bodkin arrow before, because he isn't creating any crossbows for the time being. Let's click on his town center and have a wee look. Indeed, bodkin arrow it was, and crossbows coming in now as well. Does this tell us, ladies and gentlemen, that he wants to be going for arbalists further down the road in the Imperial Age, or does he just want to get those archery ranges up in preparation for the hand cannons that he maybe wants to create? Only time will show, as Mothump, I believe, was throwing up a third stable, the Greedy Boy. 3 stable knights from Mothump. It's all well and good having 3 stables, mate, but if you're not going to go ahead and use them, and you're just going to sit pretty back at home for the time being and let Nagus start taking control little by little of all the gold in the center, you're going to find yourself in a very difficult position. But now taking the initiative and moving out to start mining some of that stone that the Koreans are so partial to as well. Is Nagus doing the same thing? Well, no, he's not. He's got 1 spearman guarding his stone out to the right hand side of his base. He's just making sure, spearman's just saying, alright guys, I've got this. The stone is completely under lockdown. Let's ignore the fact there are palisade walls around my base. I've got this completely under control. And for the time being, again, both of these guys just going for a bit of a boom. 70 villages to 66. Nagus's economy starting to look just a little bit bigger than Mothump's. Not to take anything away from Mothump, he does have a lot of beautifully modified farms having been seeded as well. A couple of houses being thrown up at the back with gold mining coming in for him, and handcart kicking in for Nagus means that Nagus's economy is going to be able to start propelling him very, very quickly into the Imperial Age. And indeed, that's what we see. But I did see the mobilization of the army coming in now as well for Mothump. He's starting to push out, test the waters, see what's going on. He's thinking, okay, there's a couple of trees up here, don't have to worry about them, they're not going to attack, and he moves out with his still +1 defense knights. And military is still in favor of Mothump by 8 military units here. Remember that also we do have quite a few crossbows here having been queued up for Nagus, and unfortunately Mothump can't actually get into the economy of Nagus. What he is going to do is he's going to run past all of these wolves that were sitting out on the left-hand side of his base. Nagus, on the other hand, again testing the water, seeing what Mothump is up to, and he sees, okay, he's got a couple of knights, he's got some monks, he's got a monastery. Clearly, I'm going to get the heck out of there because I can't actually do anything here for the time being. I think he should just resign himself to the fact that this is indeed going to go into the late game. And a forward house, the forward house villager, everyone always underestimates the importance of this. That forward house is just so important. And I troll a little bit, but I'm also semi-serious because any units patrolling in here from Mothump more often than not will start targeting this house, and it will give Nagus just a little bit of warning as to as the fact that his opponent is starting to come here. And this is really very lucky for very lucky for Nagus as well. A bit of a flare coming up here as well, and one tree, there's just one tree line, a thin line that stops these knights from Mothump getting in to the economy here of Nagus. That's a good amount of knights and chain barding armor rather coming in for him now as well. Is there a hole? No, there is not. Nagus is definitely going to make sure there's no bloody hole by stonewalling behind his palisades, retreating back to his town center, and going to be fighting these knights who are just coming at him one by one. This is just feeding him. This is just feeding Nagus the knights. Really unfortunate trade there for Mothump, I believe, losing 2 knights for absolutely nothing, as he does bring in more knights at the front of his base. Nagus has seen the monastery up for his opponent and thinks, hey, maybe I should get out some religious folks as well. And as the house is definitely going to be going down as Nagus clicks up to the Imperial Age, Mothump seems to be in an okay position, at least in terms of taking all of his stone. He's going to be able to punch away into Nagus's base unless these stone walls come up really quickly. Nagus bringing everyone over. The Koreans obviously building defensive structures just that little bit quicker. He needs to get the micro walls, and he needs to focus these villages on each individual wall piece. But the knights are in. The knights are into his economy, and oh no. This is not what we want to be seeing at all. These knights are just going to start running absolutely rampant inside of Nagus's economy, and this is not what he needed right as he'd clicked up to the Imperial Age. what he should be doing, walling up in here behind this, try and trap the knights in, and then bring the crossbows over to start ripping them to shreds. 90 villages to 91, and Mothump still has a good amount of knights also building forward, also brewing around at the front of his base, building a castle. Really interesting location. I perhaps would have liked to have seen it on the hill just a little bit more, just to get those hill advantages and disadvantages. No, 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 no. I just love seeing the quick walls coming in. But unfortunately it didn't pay off there. 88 villages to 94, and this is really starting to put a stint and hurting Nagus' economy, I say, as he's sitting on 1k food, so he should be okay for the time being. That's a decent amount of crossbows. These knights are going to get chewed up and spat back out, sitting underneath the town centre, sitting underneath what looks to be a crap ton of crossbows. I'm not going to try and count that. I can't count. We all know that. University and Monastery also having been thrown up for GrandNagus. Chemistry will be a very, very important upgrade, seeing as though he doesn't have any castles up with which he can start taking down the forward castle that we saw Mothump building just before as well. Mothump up to the Imperial Age, again just a little bit behind his opponent, but now having a 19 villager lead over Nagus here as well. That also begs the question, what sort of army composition is Mothump going to be going for in the Imperial Age? Well, Mothump, talk to me. What are you going to be going for once you reach the Imperial Age? Are you going to be going for the war wagons? Good lord, please tell me you're going for the war wagons. A castle coming up for Nagus out on the front as well. Nice micro walls coming in here. Does he still have the idle units back in his base? Where are all his crossbows? Nagus, where is your army? They are buzzing around inside your base. They are no good back there, son. Why are these guys still not trushing? They're sort of trushing. They're going for the castle rush instead. And Mothump getting a really, really nice amount of trades here, denying this castle out on the front of Nagus's base. Wow. I suppose it's his base. Siege Workshop and another town centre coming up for Mothump as well. Arbalest upgrade being researched now. Mothump. Mothump? Mothump. Mothump or Moth? Oh, Mothump. Yeah, I thought it was. Anyway, really, really nice castle denial here. Is it denial or is it delay? Well, it's definitely a delay. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Time will show whether or not it has been a complete and utter denial, but Mothump in a really, really strong commanding position for the time being. Nagus a little bit slow to get his units back over to the forefront, or at the at the front lines where he really needs them. Has he done Bracer? No, he still has not done Bracer either. Now Mothump nearly in the Imperial Age, and he's looking like he's starting to push forward with a huge amount of force. Again, I'm not so sure about the fact that he's still going Knights, because the Knights, no bloodlines, they are going to get absolutely destroyed once the there we go, Bracer and Chemistry and all those good upgrades come in for GrandNagus here. But of course the Korean Onagers, Korean Siege Onagers, God, I hope we see some huge baba booms. That would be a lot of fun to see. The villager count for Nagus is still on 85. Jeez, he hasn't really recovered too much from those raids that Mothump inflicted on him just before. But like I said, these knights are just being absolutely fed to the arbalists of Nagus for the time being. Another town centre coming up as well in the middle of the map for Mothump, and that's why it's a lot of fun spectating, casting, watching these sorts of games. As wow, Mothump is actually going for Cavalier. I hope that's not going to be his main unit composition, his main army composition, and if it is, I would almost recommend going more than 3 stables, my friend, because 3 stable Cavalier not really going to be able to stand up to well, I suppose they could stand up to three archery ranges here of Nagus, but all Nagus has to do clearly is just switch into Halberdier that the Koreans definitely get. And one thing that Nagus has not done is he has not got any way so far to take down these town centres. He doesn't have any way to take down the castle that Mothump has put at the front of his base, and Mothump, his economy is looking quite nice back at home. Again, Nagus, he's slowly picking himself up after that huge night raiding, but Mothump's economy, 112 villages, 112 villages to 88 for the time being. Chemistry now coming in with another castle being erected just a little bit to the right of his town centre, and this is really, really nice for Mothump. Again, I would like to see some castles up on this hill. These hill advantages are going to be so strong as the game progresses, but at the same time, Nagus just doesn't really have anything to answer these rams, these mangonel. Well, I suppose a mangonel he can answer pretty easily with his what looks to be 35 arbalists, but he's not really at the position that he needs to be. He's not offering any sort of resistance, and Mothump can just completely storm through here. This castle solidifying more gold income for him as well. It's going to give him another means by which he can get trebuchets out. Do we see Chemistry coming in for Mothump? Well, no, we do not. Do we see any other castles coming up for him? We do see a castle. Where is the castle? Where are you building it, Mothump? Let's go to your point of view and have a quick look. And you're building it straight smack bang in the middle. And if Mothump can keep pushing forward with this momentum that he has at the moment, I can almost imagine that the victory is going to be his quite conclusively and quite easy. Nagus switching into Forging and Pikeman. He wants to get the counter to these Cavaliers. Obviously, Korean Cavaliers, not the strongest things to write home about, not exactly the best units. And again, the Halberdier and Pikeman line are going to be so effective at countering that as well. What I'd like to see Mothump doing now is switching, or maybe realizing that, hey, maybe the Halberdier, maybe the Pikemen are going to be coming out. Let's either switch into Arbalest myself or research chemistry and go ahead and grab Arms versus Korean SO. Well, they're not Korean SO just yet. They're still Mangonels. The Mangonels will get chewed up and spat back out again by the by the Arbalest here. And we can see Onager, yes! Fantastic, we can see Onager coming in, and that's going to really start turning the tide here as well. A few well-placed Onager shots on these, yeah, there we go, that's what I meant. The Mangonels just get absolutely, completely destroyed. And there's the castle. Thank you very much, Mothump. We have another castle coming up on the right-hand side. And again, I still would like to see a castle on the left, but for the time being, you're taking it... Mothump is taking a lot of map control, and with the Onager upgrade coming in now too, how many siege workshops does he have? Well, he has 2 siege workshops. 2 siege workshops coming out, from which Mangonels and soon to be Onagers are going to be coming out from as well. Is there going to be a huge shot here before the Mangonel goes down? No, there is not. GrandNagus is on point. To be fair, he got a nice little shot away there, but Nagus' micro, his army control, is on point as another stable gets thrown up as well, and this is looking to be very dire and very detrimental for the player from... for the red player here, Nagus, as Ballistics is coming in for him. Iron Casting, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more firepower on these Cavalier. Unfortunately, it's more or less the defensive upgrades that you really want in this situation, so they can actually get up into the face, into the face of these Onagers, into the face of these Arbalests here as well. So he's really going forward. He's going hard. He's going strong. It's a cheeky freaking Treb. He's going strong as the blue player here, Mothump. Nagus is being forced off the gold. I can only imagine that he's still got a little bit of gold left in his base, but having to switch into trash, having to switch into the light cavalry and hussar line as well, not really what he wants to be doing. Korean hussar are definitely completely crap. And again, it looks like Mothump has taken the golden snitch, and he is all but won this game as well. Now all he needs to do is just get the finishing blow, get some rams in there, get some pardon me, get some rams in there. Get some of those huge Onagers. You researched Onager. Why are you not giving the crowd what they want? We want to see the Onager shots. We want to see the huge baba booms on these Arbalests here. Instead, he's just going for Cavalier, hunting down this one light cav that is trying to pick off his trebuchets as well. Now, what else can we see? We can see Nagus is building a defensive castle inside of his base, and that's totally fine for the time being. But again, it's only a matter of time, it seems, since until the war of attrition is really the fish and chips. It's only a matter of time, really, before the gold runs out for Nagus, and there is no way that he is going to be able to come back from that. Another castle coming forward for Mothump as well, and again, it is looking all but over for our red player in the south, Nagus here. Those Arbalests still packing a decent amount of damage, packing a decent punch as Nagus branches out to the western flank of his economy, into which he has built a few more archery ranges and is trying to get up a few cheeky ranges here as well. Unfortunately, Mothump way too onto it. He knows what's going on, and he's sending his Cavalier out there now as well to put an end to that funny business. Rams now coming forward for Mothump, and this is going to be huge. Going to be able to soak up a lot of arrow fire here from these Arbalests as Nagus retreats with his Arbalest to try and get the fighting that he really wants to take against his Cavalier. Unfortunately, the Cavalier starting to overwhelm the Arbalest, and it's not looking good for him. Out on the right hand side, a trebuchet might be being picked off here from by Nagus. Don't really care if that trebuchet goes down, but it doesn't, because he got bludgeoned to death. The light cav get bludgeoned to death anyway. Ask about towers in the interviews. We don't have interviews for these players, I'm very sorry, but at the same time, Halberdier finally coming in for GrandNagus as well. I believe it's 600 gold, potentially a costly investment when he's only sitting on 3 gold piles left. Maybe, what's that, like about 1,000 gold left that Nagus has to play with in this game. The Halberdier upgrade definitely worthwhile for the time being, at least, but again, there are so many options for Mothump to switch into to be able to counter any of those infantry units as well. And again, it's looking very close to being a GG call here for Nagus. honestly unsure as to why he hasn't done it yet. Maybe he wants a last stand, a last ditch effort of Halberdier, and we will have to wait and see how that one goes down. Mothump, I'm wondering if he is expecting the Halberdier switch, getting Bracer, or researching Bracer, unsure whether it's for his castles or whether he has actually switched into Elite Skirmishers or Arbalest. I don't see either of those units coming out of his 2 archery ranges, so it's probably just to give his castles a bit more of a boost as he comes forward with yet another siege workshop. And here we go, the Cavalier into the base here of Nagus, and this will be bringing back bad memories for Nagus, and maybe he recognizes that as well, and he's calling GG as the sun sets on the first game between GrandNagus and also between GrandNagus and Mothump. So very strong play there from Mothump, taking advantage of the fact that he actually built castles and he took decent fights and he did the raids, his raiding with his knights just before his opponent reached the Imperial Age. Definitely stunted the advancement of GrandNagus here. I feel like Nagus maybe still had the advantage, get it going into the Imperial Age, obviously. Had he brought his army forward a little bit more, he could have wiped out a lot more of pardon me, of Mothump's army before Mothump managed to get the upgrades. But well played from Mothump. Very strong game, very, very strong game after a bit of a rocky start, losing a villager to a boar and being behind his opponent up to both ages. So let's go ahead, switch over the scores here to reflect the fact that Mothump AOC is leading this best of 5 series so far 1-0. Now let's go ahead, switch back to the fantastically beautiful overlay. And I will see you guys very, very soon for game number 2.